Hi guys, welcome back to the Casual Watch Review channel. This week's episode, I've got another micro brand for us. This was kindly sent in to me by VINTRO Watches. It's the Le Mans 1952 chronograph. It's using a mechanical seagull movement, although they also have a mecha quartz version as well. It's based on the first time a German racing team won the Le Mans 24-hour race, a homage back to those early racing days in the 1950s watchmaking. I've had it for a couple of weeks now. It's been on my wrist a lot. It's been on travel with me. You've probably seen it on my Instagram. We'll do a full review now. We'll take a really good close-up look of it and then let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let's start by doing the unboxing. So it comes in this cardboard outer here. If I pull the box out that's inside, it looks very much like a book. We can see Le Mans 1952 on the edge or the spine, and then on the front of the box we have the VINTRO logo embossed. This is like a vinyl instead of a leather. In the box I went with the silver version, although they do have other gold versions as well that you can buy. Comes on a NATO strap. This NATO strap, it's nice that they included it. It's very standard, nothing really to write home about. But this watch does have 100-meter water resistance as well, so if you did want to go swimming in it, then throw it on the NATO, you'll have no problem with that. I've not been wearing it on this NATO. In fact, I've not even been wearing it on this included leather strap, and we'll go over that as we go into the review. One of the other things in the case as well, if I pull this section out, wallet with the warranty card in it. I think this watch is going to retail around $550 US. I've done a rough calculation from euros on their website. This is the automatic version. They also do mecha quartz one as well. So if you're not into automatic watches or you want a quartz model, they also do a quartz version as well. But as we love mechanical watches on this channel, this is what we're going to concentrate on. So I've just put my glove on here because the watch has a very high polishing, and as we do the close-ups, I'd rather you saw a nice shiny case instead of a close-up of my fingerprints. So that's why I wear the gloves on here as well. Also, I don't want to scratch it. So this watch's name is the Le Mans 1952 chronograph. This watch is named after Hermann and Fritz Riess, who won the Le Mans 24-hour race in 1952 in a Mercedes 300 SL. In fact, they were the first German team to win the race ever. So it's to honour that, and VINTRO is based in southern Germany. The watch has been designed in southern Germany, so it's very German in its heritage, although it is using a seagull movement, which we'll go into more depth as we go through the review here. It comes on this vintage style leather strap. This is a nice high quality strap, but let me just show you on the wrist shot here. I've not been wearing it on this strap because I've got a 7.2, 7.3 inch wrist. And if I just show you on here, I'm nearly at the end. But if you've got a bigger wrist than mine, I mean, I've only got 2 more holes to go on there. So you might have to contemplate either wearing it on the NATO or buying a different strap for it. While we're in this shot, we might as well do the wrist shot here. 20mm lug width, 15mm thickness, and a 40mm case. And it's a 48mm from lug to lug. Fits the wrist very nicely. It's got a domed back and then domed sapphire on the front. It's very comfortable. I've been wearing it on a NATO strap, not the one that came with it, a different NATO strap. And this watch has been all over the place with me. I travel quite a lot for work, and this has been my trusty travel companion. I've been wearing it on a NATO to try and give it a more casual look, but it has a very smart look to it. You could wear it as a dress watch or as a casual watch, I think. Here is a close-up on the watch here, and we can see that very vintage-inspired case. It's got a high polishing all over it. This is the steel version. They do gold versions as well, but it's got a high polishing all over it. We can see the high polishing on the bezel here, high polishing on the sides, even on the back. There's a nice exhibitions display case. This is the Seagull, the ST1940 movement, and it's based on a Venus movement, which was an old movement manufacturer. It's a column wheel chronograph. Now, this is the first time I've seen this movement, and one of the things that surprised me, if I engage the movement, it doesn't have that snap that we're used to with the Valjoux 7750. Very smooth press. You don't feel like you're really forcing it. There's no kind of pop to it. You just basically press it, and then it's got a very smooth sweep to it. So this is based on a Venus movement that was developed in, I think, the 1950s. And then in the 1960s, Venus decided to develop a new movement, and they sold this, or the design for this movement, to the Chinese military. So that's why we see those Seagull military watches. And then they still make that movement today, and that's what's in this watch. The movement itself on the back is very pretty. They've got a signed rotor with some nice perlage on here as well. Their logo is just sort of stamped on there. I don't know whether it would have been nicer if it was engraved or had a more distinctive design on the rotor, but their name's on the back anyway. The movement is extremely pretty. We've got gold-coloured elements and the blue screws on here as well. It's a very nice movement. The display caseback gives a lot of depth, so you can see right into the movement here, and then when you engage the chronograph, you can see the parts moving inside. It's a very pretty movement, especially on a watch of this price. You don't expect to see such a nice looking movement inside. When you set the time, it has a continuous second hand, so there isn't hacking on here. Now, I can't really give it a hard time for that because our other channel favorite watch also doesn't have hacking on it as well, so I can't really give it a hard time for that. But just so you're aware, I thought when I first pulled it out and set it that it did have hacking, but I think it was because the watch wasn't wound. It has it's automatic, as we can see from the rotor clearly, but it also has hand winding as well here, and it's quite a smooth action. The crown has a nice bit of grip to it. I would like it if the crown was slightly fatter, just to get my fingers on it, but it doesn't impede the winding. It's just to get a bit more grip on it. I wish the crown had been slightly bigger, but that's my only grumble with it, really. The chronograph pushers, very smooth, nicely designed. Here we have that very vintage-inspired dial on here. It's silver. A silver dial. They also do other colours as well. There's a black dial. We've got the seconds on the outer track. The hours here, the 12 and the 6, are applied, as well as the indices on here. And then there's a nice blue colour for the hands, the second hand, and then the sub-dials on here. Second and minute hand, I believe that, I think they might be called Dauphine hands, but they're very sharp. They look almost razor sharp on here as well. I like that look. Again, adds to the vintage look. There's a lot of thought put into the dial, I think, how the elements fit together. The domed sapphire as well also adds to that, the look of the dial. The VINTRO logo on here is painted on, or stamped on, I should say. I'd like to see an applied logo, but I think based on how intricate their logo is, I think that would be quite difficult. But overall, I think they've done a great job of the dial. The dial's one of my favourite parts about the watch. The watch is going to retail for around $550 US. I was doing a rough conversion based on the euros on their website. And that does put it into a competitive area. I'm thinking of watches like Mercer and the Baltic watch as well. But I think this has enough distinction between those. This certainly is going for that vintage look, the 1950s style of watch. And it's got a very nice high polishing as well. So I think this will appeal to quite a lot of watch collectors. So in summary, I think they've done a good job of this overall. I'd just like to say a big thanks to VINTRO, and I'll do my usual disclaimer. They have sent this in for review, but they haven't asked for, been given, or been offered any input in this review, positive, negative, or otherwise. This has been my honest review of this watch. So there was my review of the VINTRO Le Mans 1952. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. As always, I appreciate any comments that you leave me. If you want to ask me any questions, as many of you have, you can contact me on any of these social media links or directly at thecasualwatchreviewer@gmail.com. Always really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time on the Casual Watch Review channel. Thanks, guys. Bye.